I just want to say again a couple things. You're standing in a fortress. I mean, in a sense, that's what it is. In fact, the word Masada, you've all pointed out to us, that's really what it comes from in the Hebrew. Masada, which is fortress. Herod built this as a safe place, as a place that if things got bad, he could run to. He never enjoyed it. He never spent much time here. It never was that for him, but that's what he was thinking. We're thinking about the 70 AD, we're thinking about those who came here and died, that they looked at this as a fortress, and yet ultimately it failed. I mean, it's a fortress that survived for 8 months, but it failed. And it's a fascinating thing to think about, even that word. Now, we know that David was in this area. Was he on this mount or somewhere near here? We don't know, but I like his words. Let me just read it to you out of Psalm 31, where he says, "In you, O Lord, I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Bow down your ear to me and deliver me speedily. Be my rock of refuge, a fortress of defense to save me. You are my rock and my fortress. Therefore, for your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Pull me out of the net which they have secretly laid for me. For you are my strength. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You redeemed me, O Lord God of truth." David's he's thinking through the hard times that he was going through. Saul's chasing him, just the hard things that were in his life. And he, somewhere in this region, says this very thing. God, would you be my rock of refuge? Would you be my fortress to save me? And for David, it wasn't looking at this as an island of safety or anything. It was looking at God as that God would be that in his life. And I love there, that in verse 3 where it uses that word fortress, it's Masada. That if you were to say, David's saying, you're my Masada. You're the place that I can run to, where I can run to and find safety in that. And there's just a sense of that, of just knowing that in life, in a broken, in a world that is filled with pain and sorrow, that is filled with persecution, that might even, impact our lives in our lifetime. There's a sense of saying, where am I safe? Where is my safe place? Where can I run to? And for David, it was God. When David did, when he was doing well, he found God to be, he would use it over and over again. God's my rock. God's my strength. God's my fortress. It's a worthy question, that honestly is worth our own asking. I mean, so what is your fortress? I mean, what is it that is your fallback in life? I mean, the sad reality, I wish I could sit here and say it even in this small group, that we would say, oh, of course God's my fortress. But I know that's not true. I know for some of us it's money. It's like, well, I have money. I set it aside. I have something. I mean, I know people that are in our town. I know people that go to our church that pretty much have a stockpile. I mean, they got their guns, they got their weapons, they know, hey, if it gets bad, I have this. I mean, if it gets bad, I have a place. And I'm not saying that being wise or having other things is bad. But I am saying that ultimately what we should be able to say is, that's not my trust. You could take away all of that. You could take away everything from me. You could take away my money, you could take away my guns, you could take away whatever that is, but that's not what I'm going to find God himself to be my fortress and my strength. I mean, God's powerful. I mean, I know that you guys know this, but we think about the legions that surrounded this place. We think about Rome, and in my mind, I know it's not the same, and I know prophecy was happening, and I know that you can't make it too simple, but I'm finding myself thinking of that story that's recorded for us over and over in the Old Testament, when Hezekiah was faced with an overwhelming Assyrian army. And he eventually finds God to be his strength, and he puts his trust in God, and one angel goes out and slaughters 185,000 Assyrians. I mean, I know that we can't put God in a box, or he always works, but I'm just telling you that way, that to say, okay, here's the thought of just saying, okay, God, you're my trust. And so, in a very simple devotion and a very simple thought, you're sitting in a strong tower. You're sitting in a fortress, and there's just a sense of saying, okay, so is this it? I mean, ultimately, it didn't work. I mean, all the work that Herod did, it never really was that for him. He never was saved in it. He never, he worked really hard. He lived by fear. He governed his life by fear, but it never really was a safe place for him. And even for the Jewish rebels that came here, it ended up failing. And anything else that we put our trust in will end up failing us. And so it's a good place just to say that. So I just want to read parts of Psalm 31 again. And if I can give, if you're interested later, it's a great psalm. I mean, 24 verses, just to pause, maybe on the bus somewhere, and just read through that Psalm 31 and just kind of let it become kind of your kind of explanation to God. But let me just read parts of it, and then I'll pray. Or I'll take some questions and pray. Psalm 31, verse 1, it says, "In you, O Lord, I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Bow down your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be my rock of refuge, a fortress of defense to save me." He says, God, I want you to be that. I want you to be my rock, a fortress. I want you to be my defense. And then he makes it as a positive. He's prayed for it, and then he declares it by faith. For you are my rock and my fortress. You are my rock and Masada. Therefore, for your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Pull me out of the net which they have secretly laid for me. For you're my strength. Into your hand I commit my spirit. Jesus quotes those words as he gives his life on the cross, by the way, which is fascinating. You've redeemed me, O Lord of truth. I've hated those who regard useless idols, but I trust in the Lord. I will be glad and rejoice in your mercy, for I have considered my trouble. You have known my soul in adversities. You have not shut me up in the hand of the enemy. You have set my feet in a wide place. He goes on and talks about just crying out for God to do that in his life, and crying out saying, you know, people are scheming against him and things are going against him. But he says, but as for me, I will trust in you, O Lord. I will say, God, you are my God. My times, they're in your hand. I mean, to sit there and say, God, my life, all that I am, that's yours. I mean, you're sovereign. You're the one that holds me. It says, make your face shine on your servant. Save me for your mercy's sakes. Do not let me be ashamed, for I've called on your name. And then, as he looks upon all this, he turns it into just a worship at the end of Psalm 31. He says, "O Lord, how great is your goodness, which you've laid up for those who fear you, which you have prepared for those who trust you." He says, "Blessed be the Lord, for he's shown me marvelous kindness." And then he ends the whole psalm this way. "Oh, love the Lord, you his saints. For the Lord preserves the faithful. He fully repays the proud person. Be of good courage, for he shall strengthen your heart, all you who hope in the Lord." David just ends it as a worship saying, guys, I'm just telling you, God's there. I mean, if you would just put your trust in God, if you would find God to be your strength, if you would find your God to be your hope, that's a place that will never disappoint you. He will never fail, because nothing can ever lead him that way. So it's a good thought to just think about it here. It's like, okay, God, you're my Masada. You're my fortress. Questions before we pray? Insights or thoughts? Okay? Lord, I want to say it from my heart to yours. You're my Masada. You're my fortress. You're the one I trust in. Lord, I thank you that our times, they really are in your hands. It's not in the hands of the politicians. It's not in the hands of secret government entities. I mean, there really is just, you're sovereign. You're God. And I just want to trust you. I want you to be my rock, my safe place, that place that I run to, and I run to continually. God, would you just remind us of that? And you would, even as we stand in a place that was an amazing fortress in some ways, but a disappointing and failing fortress. Would you help us to recognize this is not where I need my trust to be? Not in what man can produce. I need my trust to be in you. God, search us and make it just so right here. Just that we who love you, let us just find you to be our strength. To find you to be our hope. And we ask for that now. In Jesus' name. Amen.
That's cool.
No, that's a night show. Okay. And they tell you the story here with using lights. Anyway, we are within the double wall, you see? And as we said,
Standing as a free man than living on my knees.
leak into the rock. And looking right beside it, they found this remains of a ritual bath, a mikveh. In Hebrew, ritual bath. So it teaches us the rebels of Hebrew. So you can see. So we came from over there. You can see the palace on the edge. And if you look over to there, you can see there is a gorge. Yeah, there's a canyon. Now, when there is a rain, every rain, 20 miles away from here, water will go through the soil of the desert, but not all the water will go down into the ground. Some of it will start to flush down as a flash floods. And then the people that lived here knew how to collect part of the water and to channel it into cisterns that are down there in the cliff below us. And you can see these holes down there. And then the water will flow down through these small channels into these cisterns. They will wait until the water will settle, all the, you can say the debris and the mud will settle, and then with another snake path that was on this side, they will bring the water up, and that's how they will have water during the dry season. If you don't know how to save water in the desert, probably you won't survive. Okay, so I have here a little illustration that shows you how it works. So water will go down into the cisterns, and then you can get out the water up to the big cisterns and other containers of water up here. So let's move on.